Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Null Zone. This is the Tarda Zone Talk. So, we're here today to talk about Screenrant because a journalist at Screenrant is not happy with the direction the show is going in and why there are problems. Now, I just seen this article over the weekend, and I was going to do it over the weekend, but then I got this mad freak in my neck as you do when you sleep awkwardly. I woke up and it's still irritating me still today. It's killing me actually. I've got the DP on it and all of that, but hopefully it should is. But you know what it's like, muscle pain, but especially on the neck, it's not nice. But anyway, um, as I said, we'll be doing pre-records and a couple of live streams during the week. So I've got the article. The article will be put in the link description, so you can go and read the article for yourselves, and also obviously, so when we're doing these type of things, I won't read every single part of the article because obviously, that's why we put the article in the link description. So the journalist here, Tommy Lithbridge, and I do remember during the Jodie Whittaker era covering some of his articles. Now, Screen Rant has been one of those that has had, well, has mostly shilled, let's be honest. But some journalists have been able to express themselves on Screen Rant and have been critical of the Chris Chibnall era. Maybe not overly critical as they should be, but some journalists, and this journalist here says, Doctor Who pretending Shooty Gatwa's fourth season is season one shows where RTD's return is going wrong. So he is given several reasons why it won't work. So let's see. So Doctor Who's misguided attempt to market Ncuti Gatwa's fourth season as Doctor Who as the show's season one actually highlights a bigger problem with the series and showrunner Russell T Davis's return. Despite being season 14 of the revival, official Doctor Who marketing material refers to Gatwa's debut season as season one. Not only does this language indicate a major reset is on the way, but it demonstrates where the show has been fallen short. And I wouldn't disagree with the journalist there. I did speak about it on my channel a very, very long time ago. I told you that Shooty's Gatwa season, fourth season, would be classified as season one or series one, whatever you want to call it. So this is nothing new to me. Um, so let's see what else. So he waffles on there a little bit. So let's see what his reasons are. Call of Doctor Who series season 14, season 1 makes no sense. And rather than suggesting a continuation of the characters' arc, theme and overall story of what's come before, Doctor Who describes season 14 as season 1, suggests a complete reset in much the same way as Christopher Eccleston's Doctor allowed the show to honour what came before while establishing a complete, distinct, and expanded mythology. This language suggests that Gatwa's take on the character deliver a similarly radical change. However, there are several reasons why claiming such an approach just doesn't make sense. And I do agree. Listen, this is see the thing. It's Disney. See, it's on Disney, and we might, you know. Here's the thing, right? Uh, there's there's probably truth in both what the journalist is saying and what I'm about to say, right? So it's on Disney, and as we're well aware, Disney are framing this, a season one because it's season one of Disney Who, season one of Disney Who. So from that standpoint, that's why the marketing has gone that way, right? Uh, Also could mean that there is an actual shift with the show, and as I've been telling you guys for a very long time, the 60th was supposed to be a celebration of what we knew Doctor Who to be, and it didn't quite turn out that way. But there are radical changes coming. That's the bottom line. There are radical changes coming. This show is going to be completely different to what we recognise Doctor Who to be, and this is why there will be a shift. There will be a shift. There'll be a tonal shift as well. And the newspaper reports have already and comments from people have suggested that it's going, down the fantasy route. So even there, even though Moffat did dabble in fantasy, there was sci-fi, but this is apparently is shifting, right? So that's a tonal shift. Doctor Who's a sci-fi show. So he waffles on there. Second consideration is purely practical because of the inescapable connection between all 19 years of the revival era and season 14. Simply declaring Gatwa's debut as season one on a whim is unfeasible. While RTD may wish to ignore and rewrite some of the more controversial aspects of the Chibnall era, they are and remain an inacceptable part of the show's lore. And I know I said that wrong. In explore, sorry, man. Pushing the reset button, having made little indication that this was ever part of the overarching plan to disappoint fans of Chibnall stories and feel disingenuous to others who want a genuine change of direction. If Doctor Who can be restarted with no warning, there's little point in investing in its narrative. And that's absolutely true. It kind of does make a shambles of the whole, why regeneration and all was invented in the first place and stuff like that. And then you've got the whole history of the show. And then if you're just going to come in then and ignore all of that, I can see from Disney's point of view why they'd want to call it season one, but the fact that apparently it's going to be season one here in the UK and here in Ireland is, that doesn't sit well. It's a continuation. So, it should be that way. But, so another reason here, Doctor Who trying hard to create a new era. Well, let's see what he has to say about it, and then I'll give my opinion on that. Uh, Across the entertainment industry, announcing a new era is a tried and tested method of reigniting audience interest. In fact, Doctor Who's distinctive regeneration gimmick, it's not a gimmick, is one of the reasons the show remains so enduringly popular, as it allows the show to shake up things when things get stale. However, despite the success of this approach, Doctor Who has been drawn into ever more elaborate attempts to democrat distinctive eras and create a blank slate. And I do agree with you there. I actually do agree with that. I think there is too much emphasis on that. For the Stephen Moffat era, it was necessary. See, it's necessary this time around. I can get where the journalist is coming from, but the show has been stale under Chris Chibnall. No matter what you say, I know we tried to try new things, but to Doctor Who fans, it wasn't good enough. And you look back at those episodes now, they're absolutely terrible. Um, you know, for me, I've said this already. I don't know if it's further down his list, but they just need to go back to basics. I mean, the prime example of this is the show's introduction of Boy Generation, uh, introduced in the 60th anniversary episode special, The Giggle. The new plot device allowed both Tennant and the 14th Doctor and Gatwa's 15th Doctor to coexist simultaneously. And yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that's absolutely stupid, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I see this wouldn't all came about though if the timeless child nonsense was never created. Because I don't think these writers would even go, because that would be a step too far. But because the timeless child was done, and yes, there was a huge backlash, but they still continued with it anyway. Um, and then fans just decided to walk away in their droves. Um, but it's just making a mockery of everything that we love about the show, and it's this generate or whatever your generation or whatever you want to call it is absolutely ridiculous, stupid idea. I would even say it's worse than the timeless child. I know the timeless child battles with the doctor's personal history, and look, I'm still angry about that, and it still bloody bugs me to hell, and it always will. But this actually just mocks regeneration. The voice gimmick, as he calls it, it's not a gimmick. It was a clever plot device that they came up with on short notice because they knew that the lead actor that they had was deteriorating. Okay, and it was successful and it worked, and this is why the show has stood for, right? This is not listen. This was never. It's never about. You don't need to reinvent the show. See, this is the problem. I think that everybody has. Everybody's trying to reinvent the show. Yes, you've got to update it for fans, for us, right? Because it's 2024. So obviously we want to look better than it did in the past and stuff like that. But the quality of writing, character development should be way better than it was back then. But what's shown us now is that the writing back then is timeless, right? We've seen that, and the writing back then was just far more superior than it's ever been during New Who. We've had our moments on New Who, but you cannot beat classic Who, right? The only thing that New Who could beat classic Who at is the fact that New Who had more budget for CGI and all that other stuff, so it made the show look better, right? But in terms of writing, character development, and stories, classic Who will always be top. Doctor Who already has two season ones, and it can't have a third. I'm assuming he's referring to obviously RTD's era and then Moffat's era. Yeah. So no, but he's not saying that. He says while there are compelling narrative reasons why converting season 14 into season one simply won't work, there is also a strong logistical argument. After the Eccleston era revival, Doctor Who already had two season one from 1963 and 2005, adding a third season one in 2024 would not only seem ludicrous from the outside perspective, but would make developing and establishing the franchise canon and timeline inherently more complicated. And that's, again, I agree with that. I agree with that. When RTD came in 2005, it was necessary, obviously. It's not necessary now. The show has been going long enough that a canon knew who well. This is the thing about even New Who. The canon's all over the shop, just like it is with classic Who. It's RTD needs to be very careful here what he does because as I said, Chibs tried something new. It didn't work, and then he had to, by his second season, he tried to go back to the trial and test it, but the damage was already done. Um, the branding is not the branding of this season one. I can understand why it's season one on Disney Plus, but they should be calling it season 14 here or series 14 here. It is a bit of a it is a bit of a head scratcher, all right. Um, and I think that's his last reason there, or this article. Or hold on now, see this computer is doing my bleeding head in. Let's see if it goes down. Here we go. So, unlike in 2005, Doctor Who is not being brought back from cancellation. Today, the show is an internationally recognized and acclaimed brand beloved by millions the world over. The only justification for the season one style reset would be if the series planned to totally ignore everything that happened in the preceding 19 years and start again from scratch. Since this is not the approach RTD is going for, confirmed by the return of characters like Bonnie Langford as Mel Bush. A new Doctor Who season one in 2024 simply isn't justified. And I would have to agree with that. See, kind of, yeah. See, he makes a good point there, though. If you were going for a reset, right, then why would you be bringing back classic characters? You know what I mean? Surely, if you were doing a reset, you would ignore all of those characters, but he's not. So I can get why it's season one on Disney Plus. If Disney Plus obviously are marketing it well, right? But it should be season 14 here. Again, you're adding the extra complication though, because if it's season one, then that suggests that you're going to ignore everything because you're going to rebuild the show back up. Because obviously, the newer fans that they're trying to attract wouldn't have a clue. But then you look at BBC's YouTube channel, the Doctor Who YouTube channel, and they're putting up clips as I call Doctor Who for Dummies, and they've been doing it for a long time. It's like as if they're teaching all the newer fans the history of the show. So the marketing is all over the place. There is no shadow of a doubt that the marketing is all over the place. Um, it should be called season 14. It's as simple as that. But, you know, look, RTD has made some changes to the classic characters, Davros being the prime example, right? I just don't know. See, if you're going to rebuild the show, does that mean then that, because this is dangerous then, right? Does that mean then RTD is going to cherry pick what he likes from the classic era and what he believes is canon and move forward with that with his new iteration of Doctor Who? Now, if that's the case, then I'd have to say, like I said, when Chris Chibnall was doing the same thing, that's where they're going wrong. It's absolutely disgraceful. Who the hell do you think you are? This is not your own personal, head cannon now for everybody to see, right? And as I said, this has been the problem for Doctor Who for a very long time. Unfortunately, Doctor Who canon is all over the place, right? Okay, and it does leave these kind of opportunities for maybe people like RTD, Stephen Moffat, Chris Chibnall to explore, right? And then obviously, you know, Doctor Who fans, we all have our head canon. We all have our ways that we like things. And this is exactly what's happening with RTD. It happened with Chris Chibnall and even Stephen Moffat. We need to move away from fans writing for Doctor Who on the main show. We need people in that love the show, but or know the show but love sci-fi, right? And can come in and look at this show with a fresh eye, but understanding that you have to be respectful, listen to what fans, and I mean the real fans, the fans that have carried this show on their shoulders, right? Whether it was in a poor state, remember that, right? And even during the Chris Chibnall era, right? A lot of us, like myself, getting criticised, blah, 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 blah. No, this, that, and the other. Don't care. I still supported the show. I mightn't have fucking liked the direction it was going in, but I supported it because I'm a Doctor Who fan. I didn't run when times got hard, right? I didn't turn me back on the show when times are bad, right? Because I'm a Doctor Who fan. A lot of Doctor Who fans out there, or the new fans today. Well, if you don't like it, you know, the show's not for you. You could just walk away. Again, you guys will never understand the emotional attachment that fans have to this show. Memories that are attached to certain episodes that you sit down and watch will trigger a memory, maybe a childhood memory or a positive memory that they remember. You will never have that. So you don't understand. It's easy for you guys. If Doctor Who doesn't pander to yous and starts going in their direction, sure yous would run a mile anyway. And yous will go for the next bloody show that panders to you. That's all yous care about. You don't care about Doctor Who like we do. And I think for what makes this even worse is that RTD is a fan, right? Chris Chibnall was a fan, right? Stephen Moffat, again, I have to keep saying this. I've been reassessing Stephen Moffat's era uh, ever since the Chibs era, and I was overly harsh on that man. I was overly harsh on his era. I've been rewatching his era and bloody absolutely enjoying it. Right? Yes, it has some problems. Yes, he doesn't. Sometimes there's some plot threads that he kind of left there, but he does address them. Maybe not the way I wanted them addressed and stuff, but he still made the effort of trying to. Right? Doesn't always have to bloody work. Right? But if we see the effort there, but I was harsh at the time with him. But I've really, these still crap episodes. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's still some bad ones, but the majority of them are much better than I remember. The bottom line is that if BBC, Disney, or whoever's in charge of this bloody show um, wants this show to be successful, well then you got to stop the nonsense gimmicks, right? This boy generation stuff has to be knocked on the head. Um, you got to go back to basics. You know, you got to deliver great storylines. Listen, you know, they did a reboot version of Lost in Space, which I absolutely love. And some people were complaining because, there was a lot of talking and stuff and shit like that going on in the show. As I've always called it, it's a slow burner. And it is a slow burner. But season one's definitely a slow burner. But the thing about it is you kept watching the next episode because the characters were very interesting, and the writers were making sure that these characters were developed. That made me want to watch the next episode, and the next episode, and the next episode, and the next episode. I don't feel like that when I watch Doctor Who anymore. That's the problem. So there's a lot wrong with the show, but if they went back to basics, they really went back to basics and stripped back all the gimmicks. Get rid of everything that has upset fans the last couple of years. Just ignore it like they did with the mill. I just don't get this. You know, Yeah, like I don't even know what RTD is doing because think about it. He's acknowledged the he's acknowledged the Chibnall era. So remember, people are actually forgetting here that the universe is destroyed as well as Gallifrey. Everything's being destroyed, right? Because he's acknowledged it now. So how is he getting out of that situation? Which suggests to me there's something bigger coming. And then we've had the internal changes already going on, uh, which is never a good look. No matter how it's spinned, you make a big deal of Millie Gibson's casting and then she's gone now. And no matter how they spin her departure, you know, it just seems, and again, these fans coming out with the bullshit. Well, certain companions only had a season, this, that, and the other. But they all returned to the show at some stage. Clara obviously didn't return, did she? Oh, she did. They all returned, right? Okay. Billy Piper did 2 seasons, and then she came back in series 4, and then she's returned a couple of times, as you know. Uh Series 3, we had Friedman. She was there, and then she popped back up in Series 4, right? Then you had Donna Noble, the runaway bride, and then obviously then she became full time companion in Series 4. And then you had the introduction of Clara Oswald, and then she obviously ended up being in the main show. The only companion, actually, no, she did return as well. Bill Potts. She was in Series 10. They were wrapped up, and then, of course, then Chibs wanted to change everything. So then they came back to do, and this came out of Stephen Moffat's mouth, they came back to do Twice Upon a Time, and Bill Potts returned to the show. The point is this, is that the argument that they did 1 season, this, that, and the other, right? It doesn't matter how many seasons a companion does, right? The bottom line is this, is that everything is not rosy in the Doctor Who garden, right? And the bottom line is this, she either walked, she either was forced out, right, and was replaced, and that's it. She either walked because we heard about her disgruntlement over filming at nights. And listen, I'm not criticizing that, by the way. Uh, Coronation Street, and then stepping up to Doctor Who is a big step up. I'm not going to criticize. Some people can take that schedule change, and some people can't. And Billy Piper had a bit of an advantage when she took the role because she was a pop star. Obviously, she travelled all over, right? So, she still had other things, obviously, to contend with because the media at the time, the media, by the way, were criticising the casting of Billy Piper. So she had to deal with all of that and all the rumours about, you know, her eating and all of this other crap. So that's what she had to deal with, right? These young actresses are put under an awful lot of pressure, especially when they land the role. The focus is on them. She's probably not used to all the attention either, right? So, you know, if she walked herself, then we're fine. But if she was pushed, which a lot of people are suspecting may be the case, well, then how are we ever going to get stability with the show and the show moving in the right direction? if they can't even handle their business behind the scenes. I it's interesting. It's interesting. It is. It would be nice if the rest of the media actually copped onto all of this, what that journalist has brought up, because something needs to change. And if the media, and as I said, those fans that have sold out, you know, if they were to if they were to turn, this would all be sorted. The showrunner then would be put under pressure straight away. They'd realise then that nobody's going to tolerate that bull crap anymore and the half-assed approach when it comes to Doctor Who, right? And as I said, and we have to keep saying this, right? I used to say, Doctor Who was for everybody, right? Um, when I used to defend, because people would call me out and all of this, and I used to say I have no problem with people being fans of Doctor Who. I suppose so. Doctor Who is for everybody, but that is not the case, right? And we have to, I've said this now since last year. The bottom line is that Doctor Who isn't for everybody. Star Trek isn't for everybody. Star Wars isn't for everybody. Sci-fi is a genre. It's a niche. It's a specialized niche. There's different genres out there, right? The reason why there's different genres out there is because there are so many of us on this planet, and we all have different tastes and different needs and stuff like that. That's why there are different genres out there. The mistake that Hollywood, BBC, and all these other studios and TV networks are making is trying to make all of their franchises for everybody, right? You should just cater to the fans that these franchises uh, are supposed to cater for. See, again, it's pure greed on their side as well, though, right? They do all of this pandering and half-assed approach, right? Because they try to make money, but what they find out very quickly is that they actually lose money. So if you actually pander to the people that you should be pandering to, which is sci-fi fans, right? Doctor Who fans, right? And sci-fi fans in general, because sci-fi is a genre, as I said, right? Then if you write a goddamn good sci-fi show. I don't care if you're not a Doctor Who fan before, whether you're a sci-fi fan, you appreciate good sci-fi, and you become a fan of the show because you love you know what I mean? So if you've got well-developed characters, you've got great storylines, right? And you know, you give the fans what they want, right? Then you're onto a gold mine. I mean, I have been saying this from day one when I set up this channel. BBC have never understood the golden goose that they have with Doctor Who. They have mistreated this franchise, and it's unforgivable, actually, to be quite honest with you. Right? The mismanagement of this franchise is the biggest screw up that BBC will ever be known for, in my opinion. Right? As if you're a sci-fi fan. If you're a fan of sci-fi, you will say the way BBC have handled Doctor Who. It doesn't matter even if you are a fan of Doctor Who. If you're a sci-fi fan, if you're analysing this, you will say BBC's mishandling, underfunding of this show has been an absolute disgrace over the decades. Right? And finally, when they start inputting, they start actually adding some more money to the show, the quality starts dipping. Isn't that funny? I said that the other day as well, right? The quality of the show has dipped since they actually start injecting more money into it. But going back to me point, the studios out there, the people that are in charge, need to start listening to people like me, whether you like it or not, right? The bottom line is the reason why you are failing big is because you are trying to make all of these franchises for everybody. And they're not for everybody. That's why there are different genres out there. And if you were doing these jobs properly and you were actually hiring writers of quality, you would not be in this situation. But you want to go down the lazy route, and people, right, all over, right, are seeing this. Fans all over are seeing this now. Your laziness, your unwillingness to put the effort in required to make these franchises what they should be. And we've had enough of it. We've had enough. So, you know, a lot of these franchises are going to sink, and they have, by the way. You look at Disney Star Wars absolutely fallen off a cliff. Doctor Who has fallen off a cliff. Okay, there's been a bit of a but again, when you analyze this, you have to be very careful because even though they're claiming that the numbers are better this time around than they were for the Chibs era, and that might be correct, the quality of the show and for the fact that you had, as I said, you've got to take all these factors into account. You bring back RTD, David Tennant, Catherine Tate, right? And you're bringing back classic companions during the 60th anniversary special, or it's supposed to be 60th anniversary special, but it was the David Tennant or RTD Flex, whatever you want to call it, right? It did absolutely awful, right? And especially being an anniversary, by the way. This is the big thing that the other side keep leaving out. For an anniversary, it was disgraceful, and it is disgraceful. Right? Doctor Who fans are still disillusioned. They don't like the direction that they perceive that the show is going in, and things have to change quickly, and that goes for the whole industry. Right? I've just as I came on here, just before I came on here, they released the new trailer uh, for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Right? And oh my god, is all I'm just gonna say. That's how you do Ghostbusters, right? So Sony made a F up with 2016, right? And then they have tried, and they have tried, by the way, and Sony should get credit for this. They have tried to rectify that mistake, and we got Afterlife, and now we're getting Frozen Empire, right? And the trailer looks absolutely amazing, right? It looks like I'm serious. The trailer is amazing. I cannot wait for this movie, right? But that's how you do it. So to the rest of you out there, take note. When you respect these franchises, when you give us something that's fresh, but also nostalgia, right? And if you do get the right mix, you do it properly, you introduce new characters like they've done with this franchise now, then you will get audiences, you will get butts in seats, you will get that Blu-ray sold out, you will get that DVD sold out. Your merch will fly off the shelves. And Sony are going to make a shit ton of money on this movie. And remember, all the shield journalists and the feminists were coming out and banging this Afterlife, right? Now, is Afterlife perfect? No. But I watched it, I only watched it a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I really, really still enjoy it. Yeah, it's not perfect movie, but I enjoyed it. It made me want more Ghostbusters. Now, the second one, look at I have to say, the second trailer looks really impressive. And, I'm going to say something here, right? It's not very often that this happens, right? But sometimes we have part one of a movie and we love it, but then the sequel comes along, right? And in most cases, the sequel comes along and it's not as good as the first movie, okay? And there are loads of examples. But there are movies out there that have had sequels that are absolutely better than the first movie, right? And I honestly believe that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is going to be one such sequel. I think this movie is going to do a lot better than the first, and I think it's going to be a lot better than the first movie in every aspect. Even though I adore the first movie, I have to say I love Afterlife, and I can't wait for Frozen Empire. But that's what you do. You pay attention, and Sony did listen. By the way, they did listen, and they tried to correct it. Now I don't know what it's like with any of their other franchises, but with Ghostbusters, I see an effort there, right? So it should be commended when it happens. Now over to you, RTD. You know it's up to you now to make that effort. Disney, Bad Wolf Studios, BBC, whoever's actually running this fucking show, it's up to yous now to do the same thing. Fans like me don't want to be hating on Doctor Who. And you know what? I'm absolutely, I'm absolutely annoyed that I am. But I blame Chris Chibnall, right? And I blame RTD because what he's done so far. Of course I'm angry. You're disrespecting the fans, you're disrespecting the show. Of course I'm angry. So we'll see what happens, guys. You know, let's see if any other journalists out there agrees with this journalist, because normally when a journal writes an article like that, you may have an article that might come out that will kind of dismiss that argument. So we'll have a look, see if there's any type article like that that gives the other side of why this is actually all good. Or you might get journalists who agree with this journalist and you start seeing more articles come out. And that's what I'd love to see, because then hopefully there's a momentum shift within the media, because there needs to be. They need to, I'd say to the media, or look at media organisations, you need to get rid of all these activist journalists and bring in proper journalists, I should say. Journalism over the past few decades, well, I'd go further than that, has been an absolute shambles. They've no integrity. No, they lie on any whim. Needs to change. So, heed the warning, RTD. It's as simple as this. You continue down your same route and you pander to this small minority on the whole entire planet, then you're going to utterly destroy Doctor Who. And if you have pushed Millie Gibson, or it was demanded by Disney or whoever, then shame on you. Millie, if you've left of your own accord, no hard feelings. I hope you knock it out of the park. Um, you know, um, but this is the thing. Once you've been on Doctor Who, you're always going to be seen by some. You're still gonna get that attention, because unfortunately, that's what happens to actors and actresses that appear on Doctor Who. There's a bit, especially with the new fandom, there's a put on that pedestal and all of that. So you still have to deal with those crazy little fans. But I wish you the best of luck if you have left. Again, this whole thing, even though I've said personally myself, we've only seen one episode of obviously Millie, and while there's chemistry there between herself and Shooty, um, I'm still not convinced. But like everything on the show, I've I am open to seeing Millie in her season, and hopefully, she can win me over as a companion. Um, but again, she's being pushed, as I said, it's bang out of order. Doesn't matter what my personal feelings or how I feel about her. If you make a big deal out of an actress and then a few months later or a year later you decide that, yeah, she's gone, then I'm sorry, that's not good. Can't be good for an actress starting out either. That'd be a knock in confidence as well. I hope it is that she left of her own accord because that'd be the simplest and the cleanest solution to it all. Is that you know that she found it too much, and that can happen. And as I said, I wouldn't knock her for that. Um, but as I said, that article will be in the link description. Now for tomorrow's pre-record, um, I have something that I completely missed actually, but I have spoke about on the channel before because, as you know, I do play this game. So, rumored last year was a collaboration between Epic Games and Doctor Who, and there were even some leaked skins of apparently Shooty Gatwa in costume. Now, I've seen an article there just recently. Now, it is at the back end of 2023, but what I want to highlight it because I obviously missed it. But the news with Doctor Who and Fortnite is not actually good, folks. So there seems again, why am I bringing this up? Well, everybody out there that's on the other side of the fandom wants you to know that Doctor Who is doing great, merch is doing great, and all of this. And but we know different. Big Finish is in trouble now. Doctor Who magazine was in trouble during the Chris Chibnall era. Remember that? So there has been new Who sales, especially the Whitaker era stuff, not selling well. Classic merch was still doing great, but it was affecting new Who sales, right? So, there's been a lot of fake propaganda from the other side. And it looks like the collaboration with Epic Games with Fortnite and Doctor Who maybe indefinitely put on hold, and that's what I want to talk about on tomorrow's pre-record. So join me for that. We will be talking about that because it was something I was really, really excited about. It was the only reason why I re-downloaded that game. But in fairness, the new map is actually decent, and I'm actually enjoying it now. So I don't feel too bad now. But it was one of the reasons why I decided to re-download that game because again, people criticize me. I'd love to see all these lefties download, but they probably wouldn't even download Fortnite, right, to get Doctor Who skins. But I was interested to see what characters they would introduce onto Fortnite, but it looks like it may not happen. So we'll check that article out tomorrow. But also, as I said, this current article that I've discussed in this pre-record will be in the link description. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you've only checked out this video today. Give us a subscribe and make sure, guys, that you're still subscribed. And I will see you guys very soon for the next one. So have a good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Good evening, and I shall talk to you again for the next one. See you soon.